It's a orange juice.
Hey everyone, this is Yarn from Orange Juice. I'll be talking about the Elixir bar. There are multiple ways to start off the game. You can rush your opponent without a full bar of Elixir. And you can save Elixir. This allows you to wait for your opponent to make the first move. It can give you an advantage on the field because you can prepare your hand for the optimal counter. As soon as I noticed the mini P.E.K.K.A is deployed, I knew I had Spear Goblins to counter it, as well as Skeletons if they had Zap. It's entirely possible to overcharge up to 0.9 Elixir. This is a precise technique that requires understanding your Elixir bar. During the first 2 minutes, you gain Elixir at a rate of 2.8 seconds. At the 60-second mark, your Elixir regenerates at twice the rate, which is every 1.4 seconds. When you reach 10 Elixir, your Elixir begins to overcharge in the background. Knowing that 1 Elixir regenerates at a rate of 2.8 seconds, you can drop any card at 2.7 seconds. Dropping the Lava Hound achieves 4 Elixir upon dropping it. One thing you should take note is that the overcharge Elixir resets back to 0. For example, if you plant a lava at 3 seconds, your bar will start at 3 Elixir. However, the overcharge will never store 1 full Elixir. Once it reaches 1, it'll reset back to 0 and begin overcharging again. The overcharge cycle resets but is infinite and never pauses. You could drop a giant at the second cycle at 5.5 seconds and achieve 5.9 Elixir in your bar. This is just a demonstration of the overcharge cycle and is not recommended, as you would be wasting Elixir. To pull off a perfect overcharge of 0.9 Elixir every time, an important concept you need to understand is how the timing of deploying troops work. When you drop a troop, there's a 1-second deploy time. One thing you may not know is that there's an intentional 1-second server delay imposed onto your actions before the troop initiates its 1-second deploy timer. This was implemented because Supercell created a central server where players from all over the world can face each other with equal latency. Since the ideal overcharge deployment should occur at 2.7 seconds, the optimal time to plant a troop is at 1.7 seconds, taking into account the 1-second server delay. If you don't have optimal connection speeds and your delay is greater than 1 second, you're going to have to adjust your timing accordingly. Here's a tip. Once you reach 10 Elixir, the bar begins to flash. From start to finish, this indicates that exactly 1 second has elapsed. Using the bar, a very ideal time to plant the troop is exactly 1.7 bar flashes. Your unit has to materialize the millisecond before it overcharges to 1 Elixir. At exactly 1 minute, it abruptly announces double Elixir and begins regenerating Elixir aggressively at a rate of 1.4 seconds. Since there's already a 1-second server delay, as soon as the bar hits 10, you'll want to plant your troop immediately. You can waste the overcharge if you plant too slowly. When using an Elixir pump, it's important to take into consideration that it pumps 1 Elixir every 9.8 seconds. You need to pay close attention to the visual graphics. Once the Elixir is nearing full, that's a good indication that it's about to pump 1 Elixir. When overcharging the Elixir, you need to closely monitor the Elixir pump. If the Elixir collector is ready to pump out 1 Elixir around the time you plan to overcharge, take that into consideration as the bar will abruptly jump to 10. If you don't take that into account, you can completely lose your overcharge. A useful mechanic of the pump is that it doesn't pump the Elixir until your bar has space, so it'll store that Elixir. If you overcharge your Elixir bar and bank an Elixir from your pump, you're effectively banking 2 Elixir for a huge push. The drawback to this technique is that the lifetimer of the Elixir pump depletes while it's sitting at full charge. You will lose 1 Elixir profit from the pump if you sit on it for too long, effectively only generating 6 out of 7 Elixir. You have a 1.4 second window before you lose the 7th Elixir. Here's an example of cutting it very close. It pumped its 7th Elixir with its dying breath. The pump will override any overcharge as the game doesn't recognize overcharging as 1 Elixir. For example, if you banked 1 Elixir for the pump, but deploy 1 Elixir Skeletons, the Elixir collector will still pump out 1 Elixir regardless of the 0.9 Elixir overcharge. resulting in a 0.1 elixir net gain. Shoutout to Jägermeister for being one of the first people to point out elixir regenerates past 10. Check out our description below for the link to his post. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for more quality OJ. Oh sh**, you overcharged.